I am not sure how true this story is, but it is one that is usually shared with children as a way of teaching them to be very respectful to elders, most especially. In the village of Bukomansimbi, there lived 5 young boys, namely Suna, Musoke, Ntale, Aswa, and Walu. They lived as neighbours in the community and loved each other so much that they went to school together, worked together, and even played together, mostly in the rain until they all got dirty. They also shared food at each other's homes. As time went by, they grew into adult men and started working, moving in different directions, but only Walu, Musoke, and Aswa stayed in contact. One evening, while Aswa and Walu were having fun with their friends, they received a call saying that their childhood friend Suna had died. This was so heartbreaking and caused a lot of sorrow for them. The next morning, Walu, Musoke, and Aswa made arrangements and started their journey to the village to bury their friend, whom they had not heard from in a long time. They also intended to catch up with Ntale. On their way to the village, they got hungry and decided to stop in a nearby town for food and drinks at a roadside restaurant. They approached a restaurant and ordered food and drinks, which were served to them by an elderly man and woman. After eating and drinking, Walu, Musoke, and Aswa decided to head back to their car to continue their journey without paying for their meal. The elderly woman approached them at their car and asked for the money, but they brushed her off while laughing at her and provoking her with words like, "What can you do to us, old woman?" The elderly woman, deeply saddened, replied that if they didn't pay, she would be the one to laugh last. Her words fell on deaf ears, and they continued on their way to the village. When they reached the village, the burial for their friend Suna was scheduled for the next day. Since it was nighttime, they sat around a campfire, sharing stories and memories of their youth, joking about witches, night dancers, and even the old woman they had encountered. After a while, one by one, people left the campfire and went to bed, including Ntale, leaving only Walu, Musoke, and Aswa by the fire. To their surprise, they woke up barefoot in a banana plantation with the elderly woman, to whom they had refused to pay for the food and drinks, standing before them and giving them orders. Walu, Musoke, and Aswa initially thought it was a dream, because all they remembered was going to sleep in their respective huts. They wondered how they ended up in the banana plantation. The elderly woman told them they could only gain their freedom after completing the required work on her plantation as payment for the food and drinks they had consumed. She urged them to work quickly before the burial, warning that failure to complete the work in time would have consequences. It was then they realized it was not a dream, but reality. They were bewildered as to how they had ended up in the plantation without their shoes. When they finished the work, a group of people appeared out of nowhere and began chasing them. They ran as fast as they could and eventually landed at the elderly woman's hut. Exhausted and frightened, they knelt before her, begged for forgiveness, and vowed to always respect their elders and abandon their wicked behaviors. The elderly woman hypnotized them, sending them back to sleep. When they woke up, they were back in the huts they had gone to after the campfire and realized that their friend Suna had already been buried. They looked at each other, exhausted and shaken, reflecting on what they had been through. From that day forward, they vowed never to disrespect anyone again.